YouTube, my name's Sean Connors and welcome back to the Outsiders channel, and today's video is a DM's Tips program, and it's all about something I'd love to resurrect, actually, something I think is really great. I haven't done it for a long time, and with the advent of D&D Next and a number of other wonderful systems that have hit the market, it seems sensible to talk about this idea in a more open forum. I don't know how you handle your journeys in your games, but often it's a part of the game that unfortunately I have shortcut quite a lot in recent years, trying to get the players more focused on their story, on the game, and developing and moving forward. But with the right setting, with the right game, travel can be a fantastic aspect, and I want to go and look at travel in a unique way, a way that I did some years ago and the way that I want to resurrect now. So when you come back to me in a second, we're going to do just that. I used to handle travel in a very unique way. I used to make travel logs for wherever the players were going to go. I used to do the whole journey. This one is one that's very old. It's in pencil. It's written for my Warhammer game of the past, my first ever Warhammer game, and I think it's a wonderful way of actually conducting travel. And for some reason over the years, I think it's because of trying to keep the groups focused, travel has become less important to me, and I think that's a shame, and I need to really explore this in more detail. And I don't mean to belittle the story that I'm running or anything like that. Occasionally I will focus on the journey, but I feel that this is something that's a great tip, something to really share, and particularly the advent of D&D Next or any new systems that come out, it's a brilliant one to incorporate into your game. So do bear in mind, when I read a few snippets from this, it's set for Warhammer, so some of the titles and some of the things in it may not make much sense to you, but hopefully what it will do is give you a flavour for a travel log, and with a little extra thought in your games, it could be a massive difference maker. So I'll just read you a couple of samples. So 27th, very cold, treacherous trail the characters are on, and a clear sky. The day is called Martag. After a good morning's travel, you come to a narrow, treacherous section of trail which restricts the group to single file. After careful navigation of this obstacle, you can make good ground till nightfall. Horsemanship rolls and toughness test for the horses. 28th of Barktag Day, very cold, slight sleet at times, and a slight wind follows the group. As you travel, it is apparent that at some point this day you will have crossed the worst of the mountains and will reach the foothills by nightfall. Occasionally as you travel, baying wolves can be heard deep below. If you look, occasionally you may even spot small groups of them. Occasionally some wolves will stray quite close to the horses throughout this trip. Horsemanship and toughness test for the horses. You make camp off trail in high ground and tether the horses till morning. Now the key here is whether the group actually realises that these wolves are bloody hungry, which of course they are, and do they set up extra watches, because if not, unfortunately, as I wrote down here, one of the horses already randomly rolled it, one of the horses, a guy called Weisenberg's horse, reins are broken, and by morning the horse is missing. And that may or may not happen, it depends on what watches are set up. Because of the bitter cold and biting freeze, you can't really stay outside, and the only little hidey hole they had was a tiny little crack cave that they could hide in, and the horses had to be tethered outside. That was the only way they could do it. So that was the idea behind it. But you can see how the travel log can guide you and add some really interesting little problems without being overboard. 29th, Baseltag, cold, clear but very frosty. After an initial slow start, you make good ground, and it is clear that later today you will have crossed the Grey Mountains. In the distance, the familiar River Reich can be seen, and you're now entering the borders of the Empire. By nightfall, you are camped alongside the River Reich, talking of stories of the journey thus far. So you get the idea behind it, the flavour, and every single day was mapped out like this. Small, short sentences over that period of time. It gave the fantastic travelogue, and after that journey was done, I found it really very powerful to be able to give that to the players. Yes, I had pre-scripted the journeys to a large degree. I had taken away some of the randomness to it, but I'd also thought about the journeys and come up with some pretty unique encounters along the way and some things that would happen. And it was all done fairly and sparingly and thought through, and it added a tremendous amount of depth to the game. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, because I think travel can be a very exciting part of your games. And I hope that what you'll do is think about this, and maybe some of you will actually think, you know what, I've never done anything like that, and it's really time I started to think in terms of a travel log, started to think ahead. I know the group's going to go here, so if the game ends at that point, then of course I can map that out. Now of course what you can do, of course, is if you are caught where the group is doing some travel during the game which wasn't predicted, which often happens, it's not too difficult to work out some sort of set pieces depending on, and you can literally light it on cards and just pull them out and actually form the journey as it goes. And you can have ones for mountains, ones for road, one's for off-piste wilderness. You know, there's so many ways you could do this. But that was the essence of it. That's why I share it with you today, and I hope you found that of some use. Anyway, I've been Sean Connors. This has been a little DM's Tips program today to enter the weekend. I hope you liked it. Take care of yourselves, and happy gaming, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.